Welcome, everyone, to a space where we delve into the core of what it means to navigate life with true masculine presence. Forget the superficial markers of success, the car you drive, the figures in your bank account. Tonight, we're going beyond the surface and exploring the fundamental ways men respond to the inevitable storms of life, conflict, uncertainty, and the ever-present need for control. Think about the men you admire, the ones who seem to move through the world with a quiet strength. What is it about them that sets them apart? It's not about brute force or constant aggression. Instead, it's rooted in something far more profound: their internal framework for facing challenges. Over the next few segments, we're going to dissect this framework, revealing three distinct categories of men based on their inherent responses. Understanding these categories isn't about judgment. It's about self-awareness and, more importantly, about charting a course towards becoming the most grounded and effective version of yourself. So, settle in, open your mind, and let's embark on this journey of self-discovery together. Our first category, and perhaps the most outwardly agreeable, is the avoider. This is the man who prides himself on his politeness, his easygoing nature, and his uncanny ability to sidestep any hint of confrontation. On the surface, he appears to be the quintessential nice guy, the one who always agrees, who never rocks the boat, and who seems to glide through life with minimal friction. He's the first to offer a helping hand, the last to complain, and his default mode is often one of compliance. He might say yes to social engagements he dreads, agree to tasks at work that overload him, or remain silent when his boundaries are clearly being crossed. His intentions are often well-meaning. He genuinely seeks harmony and dislikes causing discomfort to others. However, beneath this veneer of agreeableness lies a significant challenge: the consistent failure to advocate for his own needs and desires. By prioritizing the avoidance of conflict above all else, the avoider inadvertently sacrifices his own agency. He may find himself in lopsided relationships where his partner's needs consistently take precedence, or stuck in unfulfilling careers because he hesitates to voice his dissatisfaction or pursue alternative paths. Over time, this pattern of avoidance breeds resentment, both inward towards himself for not standing up for what he wants, and outward towards others for seemingly taking advantage of his accommodating nature. He rationalizes his avoidance as a form of kindness, believing that by not causing trouble, he is being considerate. But the truth is often more complex. His avoidance is frequently rooted in a fear of confrontation, a discomfort with setting boundaries, and a reluctance to face potential discomfort or disapproval. This fear, disguised as virtue, ultimately keeps him trapped in a cycle of unmet needs and quiet frustration. The avoider needs to understand that true kindness also involves respecting oneself enough to assert one's own needs and boundaries, even if it means navigating potentially uncomfortable conversations. Moving to the opposite end of the spectrum, we encounter the reactor. This is the man who often makes a powerful first impression, exuding an air of confidence and decisiveness. He's quick to voice his opinions, dominates conversations with apparent ease, and isn't afraid to challenge others or push boundaries. When faced with opposition, his immediate response is often one of heightened emotion, sometimes escalating to anger or aggression. He seems to thrive in situations where he can assert dominance and control, mistaking the outward display of force for genuine strength. In moments of conflict, his voice might rise, his demeanor become more assertive, and he might employ tactics designed to intimidate or silence those who disagree with him. This reactive behavior can initially be perceived as confidence, and in certain situations it might even yield short-term results. However, the reactor's strength is often superficial and brittle. It is deeply intertwined with his need to maintain control, and the moment that control begins to slip away, his carefully constructed facade of confidence can crumble. Underneath the blustering exterior often lies a deep-seated insecurity and a fear of vulnerability. His reactions are not born out of a place of calm conviction, but rather from a primal urge to defend his ego and maintain his perceived position of power. He confuses aggression with true strength, failing to recognize that genuine power lies in the ability to remain composed and respond thoughtfully, even under pressure. Strength without discipline is merely chaos, an uncontrolled outburst that often damages relationships, alienates peers, and ultimately undermines his long-term goals. The reactor needs to learn that true confidence doesn't necessitate the constant assertion of dominance, but rather stems from a secure sense of self-worth that isn't threatened by differing opinions or challenges. He must cultivate the ability to pause, assess, and respond with intention rather than impulsive emotion. Finally, we arrive at the grounded man. This individual represents a synthesis of strength and composure, a man who neither avoids conflict nor seeks it out unnecessarily. He possesses a remarkable ability to remain calm and centered, even when faced with significant pressure or uncertainty. When challenges arise, his first instinct is not to panic or lash out, but rather to assess the situation objectively, gather information, and adapt his approach accordingly. He operates with intention, his responses driven by thoughtful consideration rather than impulsive reactions. This grounded nature extends beyond his handling of conflict. It permeates his entire way of being. The grounded man is not driven by a need for external validation. His sense of self-worth is internally anchored, rooted in a clear understanding of his values and principles. He has a strong sense of what truly matters to him and, equally importantly, what doesn't warrant his emotional energy or attention. This clarity allows him to make decisive choices and maintain a steady course, even when the winds of life are turbulent. Women are often drawn to his quiet strength and stability, peers respect his measured approach and reliability, and life's inevitable setbacks rarely derail him for long. His resilience stems from his ability to accept what he cannot control while focusing his energy on what he can influence. He understands that true power lies not in domination or avoidance, but in the ability to navigate complexity with clarity, intention, and unwavering self-awareness. The grounded man is the embodiment of strength under control, a leader who inspires not through force, but through his calm presence and decisive action. So, the crucial question now becomes, how does one cultivate this grounded nature? How do you transition from being an avoider or a reactor to becoming the man who moves through life with stability and quiet power? Here are 3 fundamental principles that lay the groundwork for resilience under pressure and genuine strength without the need for constant noise. Principle 1. Eliminate the gray zone. Think of indecision as a silent saboteur, slowly eroding your momentum and clarity. As a seasoned negotiator wisely put it, indecision is a decision, and it's usually the wrong one. How often do we find ourselves dwelling in the realm of maybe? Maybe I'll address that difficult conversation next week. Maybe I'll start looking for a new job when things get really unbearable. Maybe I'll finally set that boundary after one more instance of disrespect. The insidious nature of this maybe is that it gradually solidifies into inaction, becoming an ingrained pattern of behavior, a defining characteristic. And the truth is, indecisive men rarely lead, either themselves or others. They become passive recipients of circumstances rather than active shapers of their own destinies. The path to becoming more grounded begins with a conscious effort to eradicate this gray zone in your life. Identify one specific area where you've been consistently delaying a decision, where you've been allowing yourself to float in a sea of uncertainty. Now, commit to clarity. Draw a line in the sand. It's a simple binary choice, yes or no, in or out, stay or go. This isn't about becoming aggressive or impulsive. It's about cultivating the discipline of definiteness. The grounded man doesn't entertain an endless array of possibilities. He makes a considered move and then builds momentum from that point. This act of decisive action, even in seemingly small areas, begins to rewire your internal programming, fostering a sense of agency and control. It teaches you that making a choice, even if imperfect, is often far more empowering than remaining paralyzed by indecision. Start small, identify a lingering maybe, and make a clear, firm decision. The clarity you gain will be the first step towards building a more grounded and purposeful life. Principle 2. Own your circle of control. In a profound moment of reflection during his time as a prisoner of war, Admiral Jim Stockdale articulated a critical distinction. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality. This powerful statement underscores the importance of focusing your energy on what lies within your sphere of influence while simultaneously acknowledging and accepting the realities you cannot change. Too many men inadvertently outsource their inner peace and sense of self-worth to external factors. If she texts back, I'll feel good. If I get that promotion, I'll finally feel confident. This external validation creates a fragile foundation for well-being, one that is constantly at the mercy of circumstances beyond your control. True freedom and inner stability begin when your identity is no longer tethered to the unpredictable tides of external approval. The grounded man understands this fundamental truth and actively cultivates aspects of his life that are inherently his own, impervious to the whims of others. This might involve prioritizing your physical health through consistent exercise and mindful nutrition, something entirely within your control. It could be honing a craft or developing a skill that brings you a sense of mastery and accomplishment, independent of external recognition. It might involve committing to lifelong learning, expanding your knowledge and perspectives on your own terms. Or, perhaps most importantly, it involves cultivating your character, your integrity, your values, and your principles, the bedrock of who you are as a man. These are the anchors in your life, the unwavering pillars that cannot be taken away. When the inevitable storms of life hit, you don't drift aimlessly, you return to the solid ground of your own self-cultivation. By consciously building and nurturing these internal sources of strength, you insulate yourself from the volatility of external validation and cultivate a deep and abiding sense of inner peace. Principle 3. Practice selective confrontation. The essence of true masculinity isn't about perpetually seeking out conflict or puffing out your chest at every perceived slight. Instead, it's about cultivating the inner fortitude to not fear confrontation when it is necessary and strategically important. Think about the most effective leaders you've encountered. They are rarely the loudest voices in the room, nor do they constantly seek to dominate every interaction. However, when genuine tension arises, when important boundaries are being crossed, or when critical principles are at stake, they show up with a quiet but undeniable presence. The grounded man doesn't feel the need to win every argument or assert his dominance in every conversation. He understands the value of choosing his battles wisely, reserving his energy and focus for the conflicts that truly matter. When the moment calls for it, however, he speaks with clarity and conviction. He sets firm boundaries, not with aggression, but with a calm and unwavering resolve. He holds the line when his values are being challenged or when the integrity of a situation is at risk. This selective approach to confrontation requires a keen sense of discernment, the ability to distinguish between petty squabbles and issues of genuine significance. It also demands courage, the willingness to step forward and address difficult situations, even when there is a potential for discomfort or opposition. This might manifest as walking away from a disrespectful relationship, saying a firm no to an opportunity that compromises your values, or stepping forward to voice your perspective when your instincts tell you to stay silent. You will recognize these pivotal moments when they arrive. The key is to train yourself now, through smaller acts of assertive communication and boundary setting, to be prepared to meet these defining moments with presence and strength. By practicing selective confrontation, you demonstrate that your strength is not performative, but rather a deeply rooted capacity to defend what matters most. So, there you have it, a deeper exploration into the 3 categories of men and the crucial principles that guide the journey towards becoming a grounded individual. Remember, this isn't about labeling yourself or others, but about gaining a clearer understanding of your default responses and consciously choosing a more empowered path. The difference between a boy and a man isn't merely a matter of age. It's about the willingness to take responsibility for one's actions and choices. And the distinction between a reactive man and a grounded one? It boils down to decisions made with clarity, the discipline to cultivate inner strength, and the ability to navigate life with a clear sense of direction. One avoids, one reacts, but the third decides. The power to choose who you become lies within you. If you found this discussion insightful and want to continue exploring these ideas, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth content, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future explorations into the art of living a more intentional and empowered life. We'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which of these categories resonated most with you, and what steps are you taking to cultivate a more grounded presence in your own life? Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to continuing this journey of growth together.